Hey, how are you, everyone? Brsan here. It's been a while since I posted a video, especially out in the field driving around. I've been fighting some bronchitis for like 8 weeks. Finally starting to feel a little better. Finally able to talk at an extended length without coughing and actually have a voice. So anyways, I was watching that football game yesterday, the Chiefs and Texans. And man, talk about a game. It was 24-0 Texans going into the second quarter, I believe. And the Chiefs, they were a second seed in the playoffs. They had a bye last week, and so they came out a little flat. And I hear these fans pretty much booing the team out of the stadium. And actually, you could see fans getting up and leaving. I mean, it's the beginning of the second quarter. And, in the playoffs, it's like you lose, you're out. So it just kind of seemed like the Chiefs kind of put it together. And, they played as though, it was do or die, because it really was. It was like they could either turn that game around and do what they needed to do to win, or their season was over. And they did. They turned it around. They ended up outscoring the Texans 51-7. Final score was 51-31. And I guess the point I'm trying to get to is that, maybe your year hasn't started out the way that you wanted it to. Maybe things have started out a little slow. But you just got to remember that, we're just a few minutes into the first quarter. And there's so much time to turn things around. And if things are going well for you, though, you don't want to slow down, because look what could happen. You could be up 24-0 and just totally give the game away. So, another thing too. Have you ever been in a situation where it was like you had to do whatever you could to come up with money? Your back's up against the wall, and I had a situation like that about a year and a half ago. My wife and I decided that it was time to buy a house, or at least to start building. And there's really no ideal time, I guess you could say. We really were not financially ready to do it. We were not ready to sign any kind of contract, because the amount of money I had to come up with, I didn't have that money saved. So I pretty much said, you know what? I'm going to do whatever it's going to take to make this work and to make money. And there's no turning back. And I think that that's kind of the mindset that you have to give yourself, is that, listen, there's no way around this. I got to do whatever I can, or I'm going to do whatever it takes to come up with the money that I got to come up with in that amount of time. And the great thing about the business that we're in is that the only person that's going to decide your income is yourself. And, when I put myself in that kind of situation, I figured, well, I have deadlines to meet. I have to pay my builder such and such amount of money in this amount of time. And if I don't come up with that money in that amount of time, well, heck, I might just be out the whole thing. I didn't know. So, I worked harder than I've worked in my entire life. And, again, that game yesterday, kind of the same thing. The Chiefs, they were down 24-0. They very well could have just packed up their bags and said, hey, you know what? It was a good season. But I just don't think it's going to work. But they didn't. They went out there. They worked harder than they'd probably worked all season to turn that game around and to end up winning to move on to the next round. So that's all I had today. Sometimes I guess maybe you got to put yourself in a situation where you got to make money, if that's what it's going to take to motivate you. But like I said, the great thing about this business is that the only person that's really deciding our income is ourselves. And there's no reason that you can't succeed if you have that mindset. If you know that you have to go out and make money, well, don't take no for an answer. Do whatever it takes to go out and do it. Hope things are going well for you. Nice to kind of be back out there and at it, and Look forward to talking to you again soon. Thanks.